Why don't they just leave? It's a question so many people ask when they see someone trapped in an abusive relationship. But the truth is, it's not that simple. If you ever watched someone you love stay with a toxic partner and felt frustrated or helpless, this video is for you. Today, we're diving deep into the psychological and emotional reasons why victims stay, the cycle of abuse, and how trauma bonding keeps them trapped. Welcome to the Matadora's No More Bull podcast. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We're recreating an entire series to help friends and families support their loved ones through abuse and healing. Let's get into it. First, we're dealing with the psychology of staying. Most people assume that when someone is in an abusive relationship, they should just walk away. But abuse isn't just the physical, it's emotional, psychological, and deeply manipulative. And I want to share something very personal. I had a friend who was planning to leave her husband. She was dealing with intense emotional abuse. There were no bruises, no visible signs of violence, but she was broken. A few days before she was going to move out, he asked to talk. She asked me to pray for her, and I told her I would. That night, he killed her, then took his own life, leaving 2 young boys without parents. None of us saw it coming. It took us all by surprise. We were blind to the signs because there were no outward signs of violence. And that moment still haunts me to this day. It's why I'm so passionate about educating people on domestic abuse, because it's not just about the physical violence. This is why understanding why victims stay is so important, because sometimes leaving is the most dangerous time for a victim. Most people assume that when someone is in an abusive relationship, they should just walk away. But abuse, remember, is physical, emotional, psychological, and deeply manipulative. Here's why victims often can't leave. First, they have fear. Many victims fear for their safety, their children, or even financial survival. Abusers use threats to control them, making escape seem impossible. They also deal with what we call shame and guilt. Abuser makes the victims feel the abuse is their fault. They break down their self-worth so much they don't believe they deserve anything better. Another thing they do is isolation. Many abusers cut off their victims from family and friends, making them feel completely alone and dependent on their abuser. We also have financial dependence. Some victims can't leave due to money issues, especially if their abuser controls their income, job, or home. Then you also have their manipulation and gaslighting. Abusers make victims question their own reality, leaving them confused and doubting their own judgment. Does this sound familiar? If so, drop a heart in the comments if you or someone you know has ever felt stuck in a toxic relationship. You are not alone. Let's talk about the cycle of abuse. Abuse doesn't happen all at once. It follows a cycle that keeps victims trapped. Here's how it works. It starts with the transition phase. The abuser starts acting irritated, distant, or moody. The victims walk on eggshells, trying to prevent an explosion. Then you go into the explosion phase. This is where the abuse happens, whether it's physical, emotional, verbal, or financial. The victim feels trapped and powerless. Then you go into the reconciliation and honeymoon phase. The abuser apologizes, promises to change, and acts loving again. The victim wants to believe them because they remember the good times. And then it starts all over again. The cycle keeps the victims mentally trapped, hoping that next time will be different. Then you also have the trauma bonding, the emotional trap. One of the things hardest to understand is trauma bonding. It's a psychological attachment to their abuser. The victim becomes addicted to the high and low emotional roller coaster. Their brain releases dopamine during the good moments and cortisol during the abuse, creating a chemical dependency on their relationship. Over time, they mistake this trauma-driven attachment for love, and that makes leaving incredibly hard. This is why telling someone to just leave doesn't work. They are emotionally hooked in ways even they may not understand. If you've ever tried to help someone in an abusive relationship and felt frustrated or helpless, just know it's not your fault and it's not their fault either. So what can you do? In the next episode, we'll talk about what not to say or do when trying to help a loved one in an abusive relationship, because sometimes even well-meaning advice can push them further away. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and share, because this information could help save someone's life. Have you ever tried to help someone leave a toxic relationship? What challenges did you face? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode in our series, Loving Someone Through Abuse. Remember, healing is possible and no one has to go through this alone. See you in the next video. Thank you.